True.
Let's get to important stuff.
There's something that I've never talked about publicly, but around the same time, we received 2 human skulls in the mail at our home, which led us to having a very pleasant interview with the FBI.
Hello?
Things have progressed well past the point of that's just what the internet does. Ian.
That's kind of wild. Sending skulls to people's houses are like, what do you think? How far across the bar do you have to be?
I mean, Ethan makes a lot of assumptions in his video, to be fair. It could have been a fan saying, like, I'll kill your enemies. Here's what I'll do to them. Sending skulls. Like, we didn't actually see any of the attached notes or anything. So
That is true. Are you a member of any snark subreddits? These are very good talking points that you have right here.
I'm just saying.
So this was
Wait, question.
this was actually one of Ethan's fans that were like, "This is what I'm going to do to your enemies. I'm with you all the way, Ethan."
Do you think that like anti-fan stuff, I guess they're called snark subreddits now or whatever, but any of these places, do you think this has gotten like more extreme over the past 10 years? Or do you think it's always been this bad? And
No, I don't think it's been this bad. And I'm kind of confused by it a little bit because obviously Reddit has gone out of its way to ban specific stuff. Reddits, right? So fat people hate is the best example. It is gone. It is a subreddit that is, you could call it a snark subreddit for fat people, basically, is what it is. Now, it's a little bit worse in some ways because for the most part, fat people could not be fat, I guess. Like you could say that, right? If they stop eating, they will get thinner eventually, or they'll die, one or the other.
Okay.
But like a snark subreddit for Joe Blow, like nothing he can do will stop that. It's a mutable characteristic that he will always be who he is. Yet the subreddits that are critical of him will survive. So I'm not sure how it is that Reddit's like, you're not allowed to make fun of this characteristic that can be changed, but you are.
Well, not to be like, I'm not trying to.
You are trying. Go ahead. Go steelman it. So hard.
Well, no, I'm not steelmanning. I'm going the opposite way. You're almost trying to steelman it. I would say it's just whatever catches them bad heat publicly. So if you made like a Palestinian snark subreddit, you would probably get insta nuked because it would catch like bad publicity or be reported on poorly, or the political leanings of the people that work at Reddit are probably a certain way. But if you made snark subreddits against people that were more on the right or something, then people would probably be more likely to.
Well, we do know this is the case. So Reddit shut down. I think we'll make another one, but it's going to be a brand new, different. It's not a ban evading subreddit. It's just a new subreddit. Hassan Piker deserves his own snark subreddit. That's a fair thing to do. We will follow the exact same rules that the H3H3 snark subreddits have, down to the letter. Down to the letter. It's going to be a brand new thing. We haven't decided yet, but it's going to be for fair criticism of Hassan. And I think that will be something that's good. Maybe we'll do it of Twitch in general. I'm not sure yet.
It's not just LSF.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll come up with the details. But yeah, I have noticed certainly that they've banned the past ones. But I think now Ethan Klein has his claws into Reddit so much, they might be on a little bit edge too much to go ahead and just ban something that starts up at this point.
Maybe. Also, just as a shout out, this is Dan's idea. I have no affiliation with any.
You mean we talked about this literally beforehand?
Subreddit. I think snark subreddits are weird and cringe, so I would never make one about anybody.
But we were talking at length about how I was going to say this was our idea.
Oh yeah, good one. Just saying, for the clips, for people that clip them.
Why even? There's no hope for you. Twitch will never take you back. Never.
It has nothing to do with Twitch and nothing to do with hope. I think snark subreddits are weird and cringe, and I would never.
You know what it is? You're like, in a certain extent, you're reminding me of Mr. Girl right now when you say that. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Mr. Girl had goals he wanted to accomplish, but he wouldn't take certain tactics to get those goals across. So when he was trying to convince you of something, I'd be like, listen, the best example is like, okay, you think that Nazis are bad. You know, a really good way to make Nazis kind of look stupid is ask them about dinosaurs and if they were around with people. And then they're going to say, yeah, they were around with people. And then guess what? Everyone around them is going to be like, oh, this guy's a fucking moron, right? The problem is he was like, I'm not willing to do that. That's not the right way. People need to understand the reason that Nazis are bad. I don't want to take the cheap trick of going and saying, hey, you know, these guys fucking believe in dinosaurs. What a bunch of morons. He didn't want to do that. Instead, what he wanted to do was take you the long way there and he wouldn't take that cheap trick. So that's kind of what you're doing, is that it's being used against you. It's being used against a lot of other creators, and you.
Well, I think
it is the status quo.
The issue with Mr. Girl is Mr. Girl was almost like the most hardcore, like deontological-esque approach to online content creation, to where like if he thinks somebody should take him seriously about a thing, then that's it. Like he's the kind of guy who would say, I think this person thinks I'm a pedophile, so I'm literally going to show up in a debate with them with 6 children with bathing suits behind me because it's so ridiculous that they don't even believe that I'm a pedophile, and I'll do that just to prove that I'm not. Like he would do that type of thing because he's so. I'm not that far along. But there are some things that I just think are cringe. I'm not going to like support them.
It is cringe, but it's also the status quo, right? To have this right now.
It kind of is, yeah. I just don't want
and it will change nothing for you whether you do it.
It'll change my community. I don't want to have like I don't mind shitting on people for stuff that's relevant. So like political stuff. There's some personal stuff that'll come up that'll be relevant. Like him calling for a wellness check on his ex is funny given his stance on it, I guess. Or things like related to the wealth and the crazy expenditures, but saying he's like gets paid a dentist salary. But the obsessive tracking of personal stuff, I think is weird.
Yeah, it sucks, and it happens to. I mean, there's a snark for DGG. I mean, I think there's like 3 of them at this point.
Yeah, a lot of them are like the same guy posting.
Sure,
He's like crazy, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
So that exists already.
No, I agree. It's a status quo. Like if somebody made it, I don't think I would necessarily judge them, but I just don't. I wouldn't want my community to get sucked into that world because I just think it's a really gross style of community, and those don't usually last very long. Like they self-destruct. Like even some of the snark communities around me kind of self-destructed after they didn't know much to talk about anymore. Yeah.
Well, I feel like they've been eating good lately.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it's a joke. Never mind.
Wait, what does that mean? I don't get it.
I don't. You've been through a lot of. The last 3 months have been.
Well, no, but that's what I'm referring to. I'm saying like 3 months ago, a couple like the logistical snarker people, those guys exploded, but then they like self-destructed after like a month and a half, and now they're like constantly infighting and making 50 million splinter discords and having issues finding content, and yeah.
I guess the way I look at it is that we're in this system, and there's this idealistic way that the world should work, right? And I think that's a big problem that Democrats almost exist in right now, is like, this is how things should be. You should follow the rule of law. You should do things this way. You're not allowed to do that way. All these rules, and Democrats hobble themselves because the other side doesn't do it. And I feel like what you're saying right now is kind of like, oh, well, I'm gonna be above all of this stuff, and all it does is put you at a disadvantage. I understand I
understand what you're saying, but there's different buckets of action. Like there are things that feel good to do that everybody sees as good to do.
Sure.
There are things that feel good to do that some people might disagree on, whether or not they're good to do. And there are things that like don't feel good to do and nobody sees them as good to do. So like something that feels good to do and people see it as good as like, oh, I'm criticizing that guy because of a political belief that he states. Nobody has any problems with this.
Sure.
Right? There's this middle bucket that a lot of them partake in, which is where, I'm sorry. There's a middle bucket where, my firefighter jokes or the Ashley Babbitt jokes, where like it is funny, I like it, and it feels good to do it. Not everybody thinks that it's like that great. Other people have issues with it, so we get into some trouble there. But then there's a third bucket of things where I don't know if I just missed this like gene for the. Well, I mean, like I guess it can be fun to gossip sometimes, but the people that obsessively gossip. Those crazy like just to go to KFT or stuff. It's not even like a thing where it's like we got to play even. It just doesn't. It wouldn't even feel good. Like it just like I don't know.
Yeah, but those people are already doing that right now.
That's fine, and they can do it. And if other people do it, I'm not going to judge them for it. But I don't want to be involved in that. Like it's not a thing that would make me feel good. Even it's not a values thing. Well, like if there was a guy out there that was like masturbating, and there was a way for me to like steal like $1,000 from him, I'd be like, bro, you're. I'm going to steal money from you. But like if there's a way for me to like rape him, I don't think I would like. Well. Anyway, because it just wouldn't feel good to the person, But like stealing money,
I don't know. Like, you're not down with that.
I think that at some point there are certain actions that if you enjoy partaking in them, it destroys part of yourself, and it starts to create a really nasty community around those things as well. I think so.
I guess I just feel like there's such a disadvantage. Like Hassan is like such a bad faith actor across the board. Like for months, I didn't really. I brought up his brothel shit, but I didn't really bring up any of the Diddy stuff or anything. But he relentlessly wouldn't stop on this Diddy stuff, and I'm sure we're gonna get to it. What did we talk about it last week or no? I don't even know if it was how long ago this shit was. Hassan and the Diddy party stuff.
No, it wasn't last week, but
it's just the thing is, you lose if you don't play ball. That's it. If you're out there,
I agree, but there are some ways you can lose if you do play ball. Like it's too much. Like you've lost.
that is true. You can lose if you play ball, but you're almost guaranteed to lose if you don't play ball.
I think it depends on what the thing we're talking about is. I don't think you lose by not.
I mean, yeah, sure. There's definitely points of going too far. It's a sad state of affairs that like this stuff happens out there. I would agree with that. It's a sad state,
Yeah.
but it is the state that we're in. And you can either come at it like, I'm above this, I'm not going to do it. And you get fucked and you get shit on. And none of these people have the pushback. And Hassan will keep growing and growing and getting more and more media attention and being on the Daily Show and being on all this other stuff. And you won't. Right. So
Listen,
that's
you're outcome oriented, and I'm looking at the virtue of it.
that is true. I am.
Yeah,
I would
if
say
people
that. Yeah.
want to do it, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and judge people for it. I wouldn't want to be involved in it, and I wouldn't want my community to be involved in it, because when you partake in that type of behavior, you create a certain type of community and person. And I just don't want to create that type of community and person.
I guess this is a decent enough question, but where do you stand on the to a certain extent the ends justify the means? If everyone else is doing the ends.
I don't like the phrase
no,
the ends
the
justify
means.
the means, but I'm a big like tit for tat person. If other people have set a certain standard of behavior, then I think it's okay to engage in that standard of behavior.
Isn't that what we're talking about, though?
Yeah, but you're missing, again, there's things that I think should always just be bad. Like, or if it feels good doing it, then there's something wrong there. That it shouldn't be okay, right? Like if I found out that somebody was like taking a shit in my food every day and somebody wanted to beat the shit out of them, that'd be fine. But I would never like start taking a shit in their food. It would. Feel,
I guess so taking Hassan as an example here, you have a guy who is basically platforming, right?
Not basically, he is. Yeah.
Sure.
Platforming and promoting, yes, and supporting and cheering it on, yes.
Don't you think that there should be some appendix that is dedicated to classifying and categorizing and making this data available so that it's not able to spread like wildfire, and he should be
Yeah, but
relegated.
you're talking about something so different now. Like in my mind, the snarker stuff is like a weird obsession with personal life.
Oh,
It's something-
if you're talking about the stuff against Ethan, yeah, I mean, it's certainly
Yeah,
weird.
if you want to talk about like that, when you're talking about
Giardia
like
and
the
shit like that, yeah.
that's what I'm talking about when I say I don't want to be.
Oh no,
involved
I'm
in it.
just talking about who gives a like.
Okay, when you talk about snark stuff, it's generally the personal obsession. If you want to talk about like archiving like all of the weird like, I'm fully on board with that. I hope on our wiki we do that a lot. Like,
Yeah,
literally,
I think it just needs to be, the wiki. There is a lot of that. I think it needs to be on Reddit. Oh, I think that's a disconnect we have. Like, I don't give a fuck like who Hassan is dating or anything along those lines. No, I'm like, to me, the snark thing is like another day, another Hassan deleted tweet praising North Korea. Like,
I'm sorry. I don't consider this snarking at all.
Oh.
It's stuff related to the political stuff. Yeah, that should be. I would be fine with people posting.
No,
about it.
those people. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we're on the same page then.
Yeah,
I guess I forgot. Yes, some of those people they are.
The snarking stuff is literally
You're
like
you're talking
you could tell
about,
today that Hassan and Valkyrie definitely got in a fight because when Hassan showed up on stream,
Oh, yeah, no,
he
that's
was quieter
retarded.
and Valk was texting, and I bet she's probably cheating on him and blah blah blah. It's like that's like the weird.
Oh no, that's
the snarker.
That's
shit.
that's
yeah, because the snarker, the H3H3 stuff, they're not like on Ethan's shit where they're like, oh yeah, like Ethan is so dumb when it comes to Israel Palestine and blah blah blah. They're like, his kids are getting sick and dying, and we need to call the CPS, and it's because everyone around him fucking hates him, and he's got mental illness, and
he probably wouldn't want me to say this, but the best thing about the snark subreddits when it comes to Ethan is that they do that stuff, meaning that they go and they come off so unhinged and insane that most of what they say gets disregarded. Meaning if they were really focused on the fucked up shit that Ethan has done, allegedly, on them, that it would be taken more seriously. But instead they're hyper fixated on like, if you look right here, it's like Trump with MS-13 tattoo on the dude's hand. Like the Christ is the letter M and the cross is the M and all the. It's just like you're a schizophrenic lunatic. What are you talking about here?
Yeah, but I think the issue is that stuff gets picked up then by there's like a whole network to facilitate that stuff becoming more mainstream. So a snarker will say it, and then Denims or Mike from PA or Bad Empanada will pick up on it, and then Hassan will platform it. But there's enough like plausible deniability because of how far removed they are from it that they can say, well, I don't do any of the snarker stuff, but all of their gossip, they basically have like a forum to figure out what is the best type of weird personal gossip that we can go in on. And then whatever cream rises to the top, the other kind of like snarker adjacent smaller streamers, and then eventually the larger content creators will pick up and like make pervasive. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, well, that stuff is wild. Yeah. I've started at this point, like, I think I made a comment about this, but like, a lot of people are like, oh, Dan, you should sue for this, you should sue for that. I'm not suing Hassan. It's mainly because he has money and I have money, and like even if you win, it's like so what? He's out 200K. Who gives a fuck? Because that's kind of like mostly what you're talking about, even if it's like actual malice. Like I may have a case because he flat out said he knew this and that about investment in Tiny Chat and all that jazz, and then later disregarded that and said something out of actual malice. It just doesn't matter. I think it's way better to go after like anonymous troll accounts that can't afford the legal fees, that can't afford to, you know, that want to remain anonymous, that want to go and do all this stuff. Like, I think that would be more impactful than going after large creators that can kind of, you know, they don't give a fuck. They have the money, that type of stuff. But I haven't done any of that stuff to date. I've kind of tried to steer clear of it. All these people are, you know, I would say I guess you would say they're mentally unwell. That's how they would say it, right? About the people that they cover for the most part.
That's what the snarkers would say?
They would say, oh, he's deeply unwell.
Oh, yeah. But they're in another world with all the theorizing and everything.
It is quite Trump conspiracy. So I did a banger tweet on Redact, and I had someone comment, and they said, just so you know, this is an Israeli company that is saving your logs to their servers to blackmail you for Mossad or some wild shit like that. And I was just like, these motherfuckers. And I confronted the dude, and he's like, bro, I was just rage baiting. It's like, you understand, you're just lying.
Is there any like telemetry stuff on Redact? Does it send anything
it's
back?
entirely, it's a fucking local program. It's like a browser. But that doesn't, you know, it doesn't stop. Like they'll just say whatever, right? But there is consequences, I think, to a certain, when you get to a certain point, if you have enough money, you don't give a shit. It's just a lot of work to go down the road of doing all that jazz. But sometimes you can get a little bit of satisfaction.
If we had like a template.
Yeah.
After my current stuff is resolved, maybe, because this law firm was pretty good. It'd be cool to be like, do you guys want to like do some other cases? And then if you have like a template for it, be like, this is the cease
just like rapid fire.
Yeah, and then boom, 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 and then we got it. We got the swing of things, you know?
It is interesting. Also, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, you know, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'll crowdfund such a legal defense. And it's like, listen, a lot of people hate people, and you don't really see that big of a defense for a lot of these people. And lawsuits are very expensive.
Yeah.
And
I think your average civil lawsuit to get to like trial, you're looking at like over 50K, pretty easy. And if you start litigating
to get to trial, not to go through a trial, to get to that point where
if you're actually like going to have people go to court and like argue and shit, that's like $250,000.
Yeah, it's serious money. And there's only so much. It's fatigue. There's only some. I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying this. There's fatigue. Okay. Slava Ukraini and all that type of shit. But I'm fatigued out from donations for 4-wheelers and fucking flashlights or whatever else Anna needs. And I still wish her best. But that's the problem that she's running into. It's hard to fundraise when you have to keep doing it. You have to keep doing it. And if there's enough people constantly
Doesn't she still fundraise pretty well in my community?
She probably does. But I'm just saying there's fatigue. Right?
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, people are gonna contribute a ton to all.
Yeah, it's you have this cliff, and then it goes downward as a result. And of course, I wish that she keeps raising as much as she can. I'm just saying it's a struggle, and it happens both ways, right? Like right now, I think Ethan is suing Noah or someone like that, and
Noah Samson,
right? Okay. Didn't he say he was suing Noah Samson?
I don't know if he has actually or not for any of these people. Actually,
so
I don't think
he might be able to raise money. But then when he sues the next person, is that person going to be able to raise money? And when he sues the next person, is that person going to be able to raise money? And the answer is like the first person will raise the most, then the second person will raise half as much, and then the third person kind of will raise nothing. And then they're kind of fucked because the excitement and the mojo and all this type of stuff is gone at that point, right? There's a level of, okay, yeah, sorry, that sucks. Good luck.
Yeah.
And people count on this type of shit too much. Just to be clear, I do hope that Anna raises as much money as possible every time that she does this fundraiser. So I'm just saying that that's probably a struggle that she has, is the fatigue of doing it. Okay. Anyways, all of this shit. What is this again? Boy, we've gotten through no items so far.